And if you want to approach God in worship, it can only be through Jesus. Now here the objection is, and I'm sure you've heard this one before, how can you say that I can only approach God through Jesus? Why are you Christians so narrow-minded? I mean, how can you talk about true versus false worship even? Why would you say that, right? I worship God in my own way. We all worship God in our own way. Maybe that's how you feel. And so you think about this, right? Like what this pastor is saying, there's a right way to worship God and there's a wrong way to worship God. There is true worship and there is false worship. And people today, they hear that and they just think, no, how can you say that? I worship God in my own way. You ever heard of that book? It was the book that came out a few years ago. It was the 5 Love Languages book. I don't remember what the title of the book. Maybe that's the title. But the idea is that each of us show and receive affection in different ways that are unique to us, right? So like maybe it's gift giving, maybe it's quality time, maybe it's physical touch, maybe it's acts of service or words of affirmation. Maybe you're familiar with those ideas, or you hear some of those things, you think, yeah, that's how I like to show or to give affection. Giving gifts or quality time. I've often found as a pastor and working a lot of times with people who are in relationships or people who are married, that one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest areas of conflicts is people being unwilling to love others in the way that they want to be loved, or to show the kind of affection that another person wants to receive. The wife says, hey, it would mean so much if you give me quality time. That's how I want to be loved. And the husband says, sorry, I just don't do that. I'll love you the way I want to love you. It's crazy, right? I mean, that's a little over the top. The wife says, hey, right, like that would be nice. And the husband says, no, thanks. I love you the way I want to love you. Or if it's my wife's birthday and she asks for a pair of shoes and I say, baby, that's nice, but I love you in my own way. That's great that you desire those shoes, but here are tickets to the football game, for us, for the two of us. Happy birthday. You probably say like, man, poor Isabel. Adriel is horrible. That's the problem, you see. God has shown us his love language. It's his son, Jesus. You want to approach God? You want to love God, honor God? Well, God says it has to be through Jesus, my son. That's my love language. And when we say, I worship God in my own way, I've got my own thing figured out, what we're saying is, God, I don't really care about you and what you want or who you are and how you want to be approached. You're like the husband or wife or person who says, I'm not really interested in your desires. I do my own thing. And God says, it doesn't work that way.